E7.
E7, what's that?
It's a pretty long-running RPG series over in Japan. It's for the PSP, and luckily it's on digital download on PSN.
It was originally on PC.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's been going on since '87, I believe.
Yeah. The latest one, East Origin, just came out on Steam. Cardigan blogged about it. Recently.
Is it PS Vita or PS3 only?
PSP. PSP and PC. It's on Steam.
1 and 2, East, Valdra, whatever, and then E7 are on PSP. And then for Steam, East Origin's on there, and
East 1 too. There's the collection, East Collection. It's up on Steam. But all of the East games were originally in Japan on PC. Yeah. It's like one of the only PC JRPGs out there, aside from like Breath of Fire and some of the Final Fantasies.
Okay, alright. Okay, yeah, East Origin and East Oath to Felghana. Okay.
Yeah, that's the 30s game.
Yeah, alright, yeah, I'm looking at them right now on Steam. Oh, I might buy them eventually.
They're really good. I suggest using a controller to play them.
That's what I do.
Aw, fuck! Aw. I was so close to winning that one. God damn it. I fucking suck at fighting games. They're like the one kind of game I never ever touched. Like, I even played fucking sports games, and I love sports games. But I never touched fighting games for like the longest time, and then my friend bought Calamity Trigger and Continuum Shift, as well as the new Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom. Like, he bought them all in one go because he fucking loves fighting games, and so I picked up the BlazBlue series because it looked the most interesting. And then from there, picked up Guilty Gear, but I still suck at them.
Oh god, I fucking love Guilty Gear.
Guilty Gear XX is like one of the best games ever. And I hate fighting games. I hate fighting games with a fiery passion because I'm a masher. And I've always been a masher, and it takes me forever to learn how to like work a character. I think I'm gonna put the controller down for a bit and go outside. It's starting to make me mad.
You mad, bro?
Vampire.
Yeah, I just jumped onto my PS.
She throws down these. She throws down these toads that if you're in the level that's like her level, you can't see them because there's these really tall roses. So she throws down these toads, and if you step on them, they electrocute you for 3 seconds, and you're completely immobilated, and you're being damaged. And and then she's just like, oh, let me just throw down this trap here that's going to electrocute you more.
What bitch.
Yeah, fucking Cygnus wouldn't stop playing as her. Now I hate her.
Even though she's a lolly?
Yeah. Well, that's why he played her. This is Cygnus, remember? And he fucking, like...
Oh, yeah.
He loves fighting games.
Well, I'm actually playing the original Metal Gear.
Collection for Vita?
Yeah, but I'm playing the original Metal Gear that was, it was on the NES, but this version that they included in the collection was for the, MSX.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, what came with Metal Gear Solid 3. So I've been playing that. I picked up the collection today, and I just
started playing the Solid series.
Yeah, I picked up the collection today, and I just went straight into the original. And I just got detected, so I'm probably gonna restart this game because I'm getting my ass kicked. So
that's usually how it goes with.
Yeah.
Solid.
Man, those games, like, because that's definitely not my kind of game. Like, the only stealth games I've ever played and have been good at have been Splinter Cell, and those really don't count as stealth games. I guess Thief. I did like Thief.
What was that again? You're going robot on us.
Oh, sorry. What I said was I'm terrible at the solid games, and I've never been very good at those. Like, case in point, the only stealth game I was, like, quote-unquote good at was Splinter Cell, which doesn't really count as a real stealth game. Especially was it 3? The one with multiplayer with spies and mercenaries. Like, that's not even a stealth game anymore. It's just a trolling, griefing simulator.
Yeah.
Except for Thief. I did play a lot of Thief.
Thief was a good game. I quite enjoyed it. I don't remember much from it. That's I don't know, that's a weird thing with me is I forget games very quickly. So
it's because you play so many of them.
Yeah, probably.
Like, I'm fairly sure you've played like way more than I have over your life. So.
Well, that's just because I'm older.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be more experienced in the ways of these things.
You're also supposed to be more mature.
Yeah. No.
That's not gonna happen.
That's not happening. Alright, I'm gonna grab a drink and then pop outside for a bit. I want a beer. I want this beer.
I will say these games are much harder than Metal Gear Solid games.
Oh god, I guess I'll never touch it then.
Yeah,
Christ, I barely got through the first one. I gave up at the end of Sons of Liberty. Like, the only reason I was playing those was because I really wanted to play 4. Because 4 just looked cool. But I ended up just watching my roommate, or watching Sigmus play through 4. Because he's a massive...
4 is vastly different for everyone.
Yeah, he's a massive Solid fan, though.
Oh, he enjoys the Solid?
Yeah, a little too much if you ask me.
Well, the thing I guess I'd say the thing I don't really like about this original Metal Gear Solid series is that you can technically walk right next to the guards and they won't detect you. They only turn around in 4 directions and they only look in 4 directions. So you can literally like walk right past one. As long as he doesn't directly see you, you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just like real life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Are you recording?
Yeah, I've been recording for like the past 10 minutes.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Okay, I didn't know we'd started the podcast.
Well, this is a relaunch of the Electric Brony, and that's how the Electric Brony ran.
Yes, I remember.
So.
And that's usually how the really rough Brony starts. So.
Yeah, except we don't have King Cheetah or. Yeah. Oh crap! I just set off a security camera. Fuck. I'm getting caught again. Shit. I'll go hide out in the elevator.
So, are there any games you guys like that are out of your comfort zone? Like games you're not, like genres of games you're not used to playing? Like for me, it's fighting games. Fighting games like way outside my comfort zone. Like I can do stealth games, I'm not good at them, but fighting games, it's a whole like foreign thing to me, which is why I'm starting to get into
it. It's stealth games.
For me, it had to be Dota style games like Defense of the Ancients
Mm-hmm.
or League of Legends,
Mm-hmm.
and that's weird because I'm a huge real time strategy player. I should preface that by saying I'm a big fan of Command and Conquer style RTSs.
Yeah.
I played through the single player StarCraft and StarCraft 2, the Terran missions in StarCraft 2. But as far as the online component for StarCraft, like all the little custom maps and everything, and Dota and League of Legends, that's an arena that I don't know really much of anything about, and I'm not very comfortable with.
I played the first StarCraft online a lot, and I got fairly good at it. I never played the second one though because, I never bought it. To be honest, I never had a legal copy of that game, so I never played it online.
Well, you have very specific reasons why you never bought it. You were pretty pissed off.
Yes, I was extremely pissed off at Blizzard because LAN play was not a thing. Which is, and for that very reason, among others, I have not and never will purchase or play Diablo 3.
Yeah.
As much as I am a fan of the Diablo series, I will not be purchasing or playing Diablo 3 until some certain things are fixed.
Well, I bought Diablo 3, but I haven't yet played it. I probably won't play it for at least a couple more months. The only reason I bought it was because, I looked at the price of StarCraft 2, and it hasn't changed since it was released. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, they're obviously not going to drop the price on Diablo 3, so it doesn't matter if I buy it now or 2 years from now, it's still going to be $60. So I just like, fuck it, just buy it now.
And I will admit, I did hop on, because two of my roommates bought the game, and I hopped on one of my roommates' accounts, just for shits to try it, and it was a fun game. It definitely did build on the second, and it had some really cool features, and I really did like the interface and a lot of the way they streamlined combat, sans the potion system, which was stupid. It's just I don't think I'll ever play it through all the way.
Yeah, well, it's like with League of Legends, it's like I hear a lot of people playing it, and I don't like to sound like an old curmudgeon, but when they started really getting into like the stats and everything, it's like I love playing RPGs. Not so much JRPGs just because of they're slower paced, but I understand the systems, the stats, the perks, and everything. But when it gets into like League of Legends, I quickly lose interest and I quickly become overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's me with Pokemon games. Two of my roommates are hardcore Pokemon players.
I love Pokemon and I will play Pokemon, but I cannot get into that game hardcore. I don't like the fact that there's this whole set of hidden stats.
Yeah, and my two roommates, like they know all that stuff and they know how to work all that stuff, and hearing them talk about Pokemon is interesting because it's like listening to me and my friends talk about Borderlands, stat building, how to train, where to go for stuff, the different kinds of statistics that you don't know exist but are there. It's interesting. It's just I never wanted to sit down and learn that stuff. I mean, the only Pokemon game I really ever played much of was the Special Edition Yellow version, which I finished 5 times.
Well, I think with me in general is that I can never really get hardcore on a hardcore level with a game. Even games that I've played, I've dropped hundreds of hours into, I still play, I guess, casually. Like, good example is Team Fortress 2. I've got like over 300 hours in that game, which I've been playing since 2007. And granted, that's not a lot, but still, for me, that's a lot. And the thing is like, people really get into the stats of individual weapons and everything, and that's great. And I just look at the overall benefit that the weapon gives me and decide whether or not the negatives it brings or whether the trade-off is worth it for me, and also whether or not the weapon is entertaining to me. Like, one weapon I like is the Scout has the I can't remember the name of it, but it's the fish wrapped up in the newspaper.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I know about that.
And the only reason I like it is because I hit people with a fish, and it shows them. It shows in the little kill bar that they got hit with a fish. That's the only reason I like it. Otherwise, it's a crap weapon, but it's like it's entertaining to me, so that's why I use it. And you know, it's just as much as I love TF2, I can't get into the real hardcore. You know, I don't care about getting a rare weapon or a strange weapon and renaming my weapon and coloring everything. You know, it's like the only time I've purchased weapons for TF2 was when the Weather Workshop released that weapons pack for the soldier, which had the steampunk laser cannon and the laser pistol and the beard and the hat. And the only reason I got that is like, holy shit, fuck yeah, laser cannon, laser pistol, beard. And that's the only reason I bought that. And I have a blast with those things, literally. You know, I guess I'm sort of like a hardcore casual player, because it's like I'll play just about any game, but I won't get that invested into it.
Yeah.
You know, I just play it for the fun, for just the experience and the fun that it's just the surface level fun and experience that it gives me. Yeah.
I think the only games I've gotten really, I guess hardcore is the word you use about, have been Borderlands for. Just because I love the leveling system, I love the stat system and the way the weapons work in that game. And I was all about looting and finding rare weapons. That and Resonance of Fate.
What's that?
Resonance of Fate, sold in Japan as End of Eternity, is a JRPG by Tri-Ace. And it's got this really bizarre battle system that I'm not even sure I could explain how it works. Just because
you
of how
honestly couldn't really explain without showing someone.
It's got a really weird cinematic, like, you know John Woo, right? The guy who did Hard Boiled. John Woo, he's a big action film filmmaker in Japan. It's like if China. It's like if John Woo made a battle system for a video game.
Yeah.
Is literally what that battle system was like. It's a really bizarre battle system, and it's very, very confusing to learn. You have to do this stupid half-hour tutorial on how to use the battle system. But once you learn how to use the battle system, and you learn how customizing weapons works and how to get items from enemies, it just becomes this game of how ridiculous can I make this battle system. And, like, for instance, when you shoot enemies up into the sky with your gun, or you can shoot enemies into the sky. You can make them. You can juggle them with your guns, and then you can jump above them and shoot them in the back and make them smash into the ground repeatedly.
Nice.
And when you smash them into the ground, items fall out of their pockets. So when I was playing with my roommate, it became a game of how many items can I get out of this guy before he stops bouncing. You know. And it has such a ridiculous battle system that once you learn it is so much fun that I couldn't put that game down. You know, I had a guide and I was looking for rare items and I was assembling weapons and learning how all the stats worked. And I think that the icing on the cake for that game is that there's only 3 characters that it's a faux turn-based kind of thing with 3 characters in your party, and you can fully customize their outfits and their hair and their glasses and their gloves and their shoes, and that's what they would look like in the battle as they're running around, jumping, doing flips through the air, wearing absurd pieces of clothing that you decide. I think that was really the icing on the cake, was dressing up I spent hours dressing up my characters just because it was so fucking funny to see them slide around on the ground and shoot at people.
Yeah, I guess that's what makes games like Soul Calibur so popular, is the customization.
Oh, is the user-generated content, yeah, the customization of... God, I wish more games did that. Costume customization, just because it's so much fun.
Well, that's what The Sims basically is.
Yeah.
It's just a customization engine. That's all it is, and it's the most popular game in the world. One of the most popular games in the world. Yeah.
Oh god, the hours I put into that. Oh god.
I gotta say the most game I've gotten the most hardcore into is Tales of the Abyss and Monster Hunter.
Oh, I never got
Monster
into that
Hunter,
series.
I'd spend so much time.
I guess two games I can consider getting hardcore into for me would be SimCities
Yeah.
4 specifically, and Civilization, like the entire series 2, 3, 4, and 5, and also the Call to Power offshoot that was made by a completely different developer. And that's just. And I guess that's just because it's kind of a world-building sort of God mode game, where, in Civilization you do have goals and you do have real challenges that you have to face, whereas in SimCity you don't have any unreasonable challenges unless you introduce them yourselves through the disaster menu. But like with SimCity 4, I would just spend hours upon hours working on an entire region, just building like power grids and transportation networks and train networks and like ferry systems and zoning and rezoning. And I would go so far as to like build a freeway system and label them by highway numbers and have a pattern much like how actual governments will label highways and freeways, and just sort of build my own little world in there. And that was the thing, is like I would do that for a month, just be into a region for a month, and then just and never touch it again. And I guess that's just a quirk with me. It's just that I have passing obsession with things.
I love God games like that. Roller Coaster Tycoon and Black and White are probably my. What's it called? Black and White? Is that the one?
Yeah,
That's
Black and White.
That's the one where you're a god and you have to please your worshippers. Those two games are the two God games I played the most, more than Sims 3. Even the Roller Coaster Tycoon, the first one. Well, I poured hundreds of hours into that game. Mostly just because designing your own roller coaster is so much fun for no reason.
Oh yeah, I remember there was before Roller Coaster Tycoon, there was a really old roller coaster designer that was just so much fun. Where you would design a roller coaster and then you'd have to test it out with crash test dummies, and then you can let the human testers on. And it was like really primitive. It was like really early 3D. It'd be so funny if you designed like a crazy dangerous roller coaster, because it would if it went too fast and the cars derailed, you'd get this like cartoon animation of the crash test dummies just in the car just flying off the track, and crash test dummies just flying out of the cars. And then if you designed a roller coaster that was safe enough and you had the human testers on, you'd have like a young like cheerleader, like bimbo chick, like this really hick cowboy dude and this old lady, and then like a fucking 9-to-5 businessman, and they'd give commentary, but the way you could tell how much fun they had is how fucked up they were at the end. Like if they looked pretty bored or angry, that means your roller coaster sucked. But if the old lady's like wig was disheveled, or like the cheerleader girl and the cowboy had their face covered in vomit, that meant that like, holy shit, your roller coaster was fucking awesome.
You know what I want to do is I have Roller Coaster Tycoon here. I want to make that. What was that thing that we saw a while ago? The Death Coaster.
Oh yeah, that Patrick on the GCC posted. It was the suicide coaster.
That would kill you with G-force.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's actually possible to simulate one of those in a game.
It would be possible, but not to get the exact results you want.
No,
Yeah,
you wouldn't be able to kill your little
own engine.
That would be entertaining though to make a death coaster.
Yeah, I always thought it was funny just watching videos on YouTube with Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, just how easy it was to design a dangerous roller coaster and allow customers to go on and ride it.
And just die, yeah.
Yeah, well, the best one was that one where the roller coaster ended at a sidewalk, and the sidewalk is just full of people. You see the roller coaster approaching, and it derails and just plows through all the people, and they go flying through the air. And then they all bounce back on the ground and get up and start walking, like running around and all angry and shit. And yeah, Roller Coaster Tycoon was amazing, and I used to love when Roller Coaster Tycoon was new back in 98, 99, PC Gamer would publish in their section about strategy games, would publish tips and tricks for Roller Coaster Tycoon, and that's where I learned you could do like roller coasters that go inside buildings, and how the scenery around rides affected the rides themselves, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I need to pick up Tycoon 3 again, because I haven't played it that much. It's not Roller Coaster Tycoon 1, so I keep going to go play it, and just sort of like getting lost in the interface, and because I'm so used to the old interface and how it used to work. But I really should get into that game a little bit more, because I did have some good times with the first one. I've heard overwhelmingly positive things about the third one.
Yeah, it is definitely worth the download or the money if you're inclined to that.
Yeah.
We don't judge.
I do.
We've all pirated a game before. Like we can't really say anything.
Well, it's like before SimCity 4 came out on Steam. It's like, I think I told you before, I bought like 3 separate copies because I kept losing the discs, and after the third time, it was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna pirate it. EA's gotten my money 3 times in a row for the same goddamn game. I think
besides, EA is the devil, so...
Yeah, well, they're the devil for now until Activision does something stupid, and then everybody's gonna hate Activision. And
yeah, they're sort of vying for worst game company right now.
Yeah, and it's really a shame with Activision, because Activision goes way back to the Atari days, and back then it was like the reason Activision was created was because game developers working for Atari weren't getting credit for their games. And so the whole point of Activision was, we're gonna get away from the man and the corporate bullshit, and it's gonna be about the developers and the gamers, and now look at where they are.
Yeah, and I mean, I have such, fond memories of the word Activision, because their splash screen preceded the first video game I ever played, which was MechWarrior 2. And
MechWarrior.
Yeah, MechWarrior 2 was the first sort of real video game that I played a lot of, and that was published by Activision. And the MechWarrior series, like, I've always loved the MechWarrior series, because they're one of the only games for PC that really make you use the entire keyboard.
Oh yeah.
Which I love. I think it's memorizing, key mapping, learning the strategies of different mechs. Like, I played so much.
It makes the game far more satisfying.
It's like you've got this whole massive keyboard, and so many games are just using WASD spacebar control CXZ, like mouse, and that's so boring. It's like, you have all these other keys, can't they do something too? And that's why I like flight sim games, because you have to go through and memorize what each key does and use them at the right time. And MechWarrior, especially MechWarrior 2 and MechWarrior 4, really did that right.
Yeah.
They did that really right.
Well, I have to ask you, are you pretty excited for the upcoming MechWarrior Online?
I am. I'm very excited. I have played every BattleTech game that's been released for home media. I've played every single one, including the RTS Mech Commander games.
Nice.
I'm also occasionally I pick up a book from the BattleTech verse, because some of their books are pretty interesting, for the political drama bits. But I've always been a really big fan of BattleTech, and so I'm really excited for this MMO that's coming out. I'll have to figure out some way to play it, because this computer is definitely not going to run it.
Yeah, it's using the CryEngine 3, so there is.
Yeah.
It's gonna make your computer cry.
Oh, it's gonna be amazing though.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys you watched the trailer for it that came out a while ago, where you see you're in the mech and it's going down the street, and then it makes like a right turn, and there's just that massive fucking mech, and you yourself are trying to back up, trying to run away from it. It just destroys you.
And MechWarrior 4, anyways, is one of the only games that uses full motion video cutscenes that I like. The live action cutscenes for MechWarrior 4 were a cut above the rest, and I wish that
discount the Command and Conquer series.
Those two, yes.
Yeah, they Command and Conquer, used the full motion video just because that was what was popular when it first started up, and then they
continued to use it. Yeah, they stuck with it, which was so cool of them to do because they did it well.
Yeah, well, they did it knowing how stupid it was, and they flipped that up.
That's why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at Red Alert, well, and that's the thing is like the original Command and Conquer series is supposed to be, really sci-fi but kind of serious. Where you had this genuine war between Nod and GDI, and then you have the Tiberium, which is basically just it's a valuable resource that's destroying the planets. It just gradually degrades the planet, makes it worse and worse and worse. And
now, what was that game that it was? I don't know, it was Command and Conquer, Red Alert, or one of those. Might have even been like Total War. I can't remember, but there was a fan-made mod for it that was like a complete campaign with a story, and the fans themselves had even filmed their own full-motion video cutscenes. Did you guys ever see that?
No. I don't think I have.
Oh man, I need to find it. I'm for sure we pimped it on one of the podcasts that we've done, and maybe if someone listening and can remember what it was called, but it was this amazing like fan project, and they did their own full motion video cutscenes for their campaign, in their garage with a with a camcorder. But they went the extra mile to do that just because they felt like it was necessary and that it would be fun, and it actually turned out really well. But I can't remember what game that was on for.
Yeah, because I'd love to play that just to give them props.
Yeah,
I. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just saying I watched a bunch of their cutscenes on YouTube, and I thought they were really really fun. But
yeah, there was the original Command and Conquer, which was sci-fi and kind of serious, and then Red Alert was sort of the crazy alternate history, and because I used to really be into alternate history and sort of not really fan made, but sort of fandom made timelines and stories regarding alternate history. So I absolutely love the Red Alert series, and there's a term used in the alternate history fandom where it's called alien space bats. And basically what that is what you do is if you make an alien space bat story, you basically take all of history and just throw it out the fucking window. You just be like, okay, now fucking Einstein develops time travel and now kills Hitler, and now Stalin's the bad guy, and there's a big war and this and that, and there's and then in the 60s the Soviets invade America, and and this and that. And in the third one, the Soviets lose and they go back in time and kill Einstein, and now it just that's why I loved Red Alert series. It's just they just said, okay, fuck it, we're just gonna make it so that the U.S. and the Soviet Union fight each other in the most absurd and hilarious way possible. I mean, Red Alert 3 brought about the mind-controlled squids and the remote-controlled bears, and the one the infantry fighting vehicle, which the way it deploys its troops is it fires them out of a cannon. And they had Command & Conquer Generals, which that actually I don't know. Have either one of you played that Command & Conquer Generals?
I have not.
And that was supposed to be like the super serious, take on current events where you have the United States and China, and then you have basically. They don't make any direct reference, but they're basically Islamic terrorists. And it caused quite a bit of controversy just because of the whole, they just call them, the Liberation, I think it was like the Liberation Front or something, but they were clearly, Islamic, the Islamic faction. And that was pretty interesting because it was the most serious Command & Conquer game, which was really kind of weird. Because again, the original series was a little bit serious, but but still was kind of campy, and he had Red Alert just completely absurd, and then and he had Generals, which was just super super serious, and it was still a fun game, but was the least popular of the three. And actually, I'm reading about it now. I didn't know it was banned in China because, I mean, it put the Chinese in a good light. Like, they were sort of the good guys. But I guess the problem of it was that China was the good guy, but they took very violent, heavy-handed tactics. Like, you have to, like in one mission, you have to, to defeat the terrorists, you have to destroy the Three Gorges Dam and flood an entire city and kill thousands. And in another mission, you have to destroy half of Hong Kong. So I guess they weren't too... I guess the Chinese didn't really appreciate that the way China won its missions was by destroying everything. Yeah. Oh, and the terrorist faction was called the Global Liberation Army, even though it was basically Islamic terrorists. So, there you go with that. So, do we have anything else to talk about?
Jacob's been unnaturally silent this entire time.
It's because I don't play these games.
We could talk about games that you play.
I mean, yeah, we know these games that require skill and intelligence don't appeal to everybody. So, what games do you like?
I like the simple ones like Halo. I like to shoot.
The ones that I just move the stick and press the button and go boom.
They go boom good.
Well, Jay, you mentioned earlier one of the games you got hardcore about was Tales of the Abyss.
Oh, God.
And I know, you and I both know how much of a hard-on you have for JRPGs.
Yeah.
But I had a question, but I can't remember it. I drank too much. Something about JRPGs, whatever, I don't remember. You have to remember, like, I mean, we're over here talking about these games, but I actually do. I play a lot of other different kinds of games, pretty much everything except fighting games, and
yeah,
I'm just starting in fighting games, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing because they're aggravating.
Well, I'll admit the first fighting game I'm getting really hardcore into for the first time in the past like decade is Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and the one before that was Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yeah, I could never do that series for some reason. Like, I'm okay with BlazBlue, and I did play quite a bit of Soul Calibur in arcades, but Marvel vs. Capcom it's a series I've never been able to figure out.
It's like for me, a lot of people my age got into fighting games with Street Fighter 2 and any one of its numerous variations, or like the Street Fighter Alpha series. Yeah. And for me, it was never that, because I was always like, and that was almost always in the arcade, and I was always the kid who was standing in the background sort of watching everybody else play and getting into them playing, and then I would be like, oh my god, these people are so good, they're just gonna whoop my fucking ass, so I'd always like try to play when nobody else was there, and somebody else came in and challenged me, I would just lose immediately just because I was so nervous and panicking that I would just start to button mash. So, then I couldn't really get into it, but the way I got into Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was when I joined the military and went to advanced technical school, which, for that, that was just the first part of the day, and then I would study for a couple hours, and then I go down to the community center, and they had a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 game, and then it was like the same thing, it was like a crowd of people around it, and for some reason, it just clicked with me. I would just get up, put my quarters in, or lay my quarters out, calling my place in line. I would just go and just wreck shop, and I'm not too sure how that worked, why that happened.
I think what was the first fighting game you ever played?
Would you consider Punch-Out like a?
Yeah,
I kind of consider that.
It would be Punch-Out, but I guess the more standard side scrolling would probably be a variation of Street Fighter 2 that I was playing when I was living with my aunt in St. Helens, Oregon, and it was down at the pizzeria. And I don't remember what version it was, but it was Street Fighter 2 because Ryu, Ken, and Guile were in it. The class, the designs we know and love today.
Now, the first fighting game I ever played was a game for MS-DOS called Sango Fighter. Which was very much in the style of Street Fighter, but it was more in the context of actual history. It was a historical drama kind of game, and it only had it had 12 characters in it. But I had this big pack of Apogee Software shareware games, and this one came in. It only had 2 playable characters in it. But I played a lot of that game, mostly because it was very simple. But I actually found out just now, looking at the Wikipedia, it's been released completely for free.
It's just, that's, wow.
So I'm gonna pick that up and play it again. It's completely freeware now.
Yeah.
In DOSBox. I'm gonna do that.
Because
I'm terrible at these, and I want to get better at them.
Well, good luck trying to figure out DOSBox.
Oh, I've used that before to play Doom.
I take the easy way. I just go to great old games, and they take care of all the DOSBox bullshit for me, and I just give them a couple bucks. It's like, oh, you give me unlimited copies? All right, cool. And I just give copies out to people I like. But no, you actually remind me, because Single Fighter is historically accurate.
Well, sort of.
sort of. Well, it's like Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, pretty much.
I know Dynasty Warriors is like one of those series that that is not very popular, but among the people who do play it, they're just like rabid, hardcore fans of Dynasty Warriors. Like, I know the biggest guy, the most famous person who's in the Dynasty Warriors is Jim Sterling of Destructoid.com, and he's like the only big name person in the world who is fanatical about Dynasty Warriors, and he knows it's stupid. You know, he knows that there are a lot of problems with Dynasty Warriors. It's just like, for some reason, he's just so into it. And Koei, Tecmo Koei just fucking loved him because he gives such good reviews for Dynasty Warriors. But, boy, we took over the conversation from J-Hoof again.
You always do.
J-Hoof, you're being so silent.
Yeah. I'm playing a game at the same time, I'm getting my ass handed to me.
Well, I've been playing Metal Gear this whole time, and I'm able to multitask.
Well, I'm at the second to last boss on this RPG.
I've been drinking this entire time. Maybe I should pop my PS3 back on and do something. I need to finish Uncharted 3 sometime.
You need to finish Uncharted 3.
Yes, I do. I've been putting it off. I'm at the end. I'm towards the last third. Getting there.
Yeah, I gotta say, the main genre I play is JRPG, because that's what I grew up with.
Well, I sort of grew out of JRPGs, and really for me it was just a time thing. I've become less patient with games. And,
yeah.
You know, it's like, I played the fuck out of, I remember, like, Final Fantasy VII was the first game I ever really, like, you know, sat down and played it, and then all of a sudden it was the next morning.
Yeah.
You know? And then it was that, and then I played, like, Final Fantasy IX, which I really liked, and the only takeaway I took from that game was Freya Crescent, because I thought she was pretty fucking hot.
Yeah.
And in case you want to...
several non-furries into furries.
Yeah. And she was a rat. What the fuck?
Yeah.
You know. Well, they don't officially say she's a rat person, but she's basically a rat.
A hot rat.
Yeah. Speaking of which, has Casey ever drawn pictures of her?
I don't think so, actually.
At
least in all the pictures he's given me, I've never seen her, so...
Time to pull up Rule 34.xxx. Let's see what we find over there.
Well, you won't find any of his artwork there.
Oh, yeah, I know, but I kind of want to look at Freya Crescent Rule 34 right now.
I don't blame you. I think we should go ahead and tell everyone what we've been playing recently.
I guess we could do that. Well, you've been playing...
I've been playing E7 for the PSP, and it is addicting as hell.
Well, I think we should say that you've been calling it E7, but it actually uses the letter Y. Y''S, in case anybody wants to search for it.
Yeah.
YS7. 1, 2, and the new one, Origin, are all out on Steam. So you can catch those.
Yep.
And they're only $15 over there, so it's cheap.
MDef Mech, what have you been playing lately?
I've been playing... Oh, God, there's like 3D porn of Freya Crescent. I've been playing Ridge Racer Unbounded on Steam, which is a lot of fun, but it's looking like it's really just a DLC platform, a money-making platform from Capcom. And I got it when it was 50% off. And it's actually a fuckload of fun just because of... It's gone the way of, like, Burnout Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
But instead with Ridge Racer. So everything's destructible, you know, and even though there is DLC, it's DLC I like, because what they've been doing is they've been releasing cars that are from older games, from the older Ridge Racer series. So you can get the original Ridge Racer car from the original game, and like the iconic car from Ridge Racer Type 4 and from other games, and you can race around and I'm bounded with them. So I've been grinding through that, and I'm probably just gonna play it once and remove it. And the other game I've been playing is Civilization 5, the Gods and Kings expansion, which takes Civilization 5 and adds religion to it and a bunch of new units, changes up some of the rules and effects, and brings in some pretty powerful civilizations. Like you get the Phoenicians, the Byzantine Empire, and a couple others. And for me, the most powerful civilization for me now is the Phoenician Empire, which you get free. Which with them, their perks are you get like a free harbor for any city that's built along the coast, and also they're the only civilization that can travel over mountains in the game, which, especially if you're playing the Earth map, is very, very helpful, because there are a lot of places which are completely inaccessible by any other means. So that's really that's been a lot of fun. And I'm probably going to end up having to uninstall it because I tend to get really sunk into Civilization 5 to the point where I don't play any other games. So, yeah. So that's what I've been playing.
Well, let's see, I've been switching off between 3 games recently. I recently went back and bought Burnout Paradise Ultimate Edition, which Burnout Paradise is an awesome racing game. It's open world. You race around a city. There's crash mode, and then the Ultimate box comes with a whole new set of races and stuff with motorcycles. So I'd never played the cycle side of Burnout, so I've been going through that. Burnout Paradise is... I don't really play racing games all that often, and mostly they amount to the kart games and some of the old F-Zero games. But Burnout Paradise is one that I've played a lot of. I've played a lot of that game, and I just recently got back into it because I got the Ultimate Edition. Stepping outside my comfort zone, I picked up Blaze Blue Calamity Trigger because it was pretty. And that's really the only reason I picked it up.
Damn beautiful game.
That's the only reason I ever had any interest in it, was like, damn, that's a pretty game.
Yeah, it's really, really pretty. And it's also story-driven, which is interesting, I suppose.
Yeah, you can go through the story and play multiple times to get different endings.
Yeah, you have to get all the endings. And I've mostly been playing, like, arcade mode as Noelle, the chick with the guns, because she's a really cheap character. And I'm not too good at these. So I feel good about myself when I win, even though I'm playing a really cheap character.
I think Ragna's better, but that's just me.
And no, I think the cheapest...
You sold bad guy, man.
The most broken character, if you're good at these, is Rachel Alucard, because she can just set traps. It's... Oh, God. Oh, God.
Yeah, we heard your take on her.
Yeah, be fucking swearing up a storm because that bitch sets traps. I hate it. It's so stupid. And then I've been playing a lot of Red Faction Armageddon. Or no, not Armageddon. Red Faction Guerrilla. That's the one. Red Faction Guerrilla is it's an open world sandbox game a la Grand Theft Auto, with a focus on demolition. So every building in the game is actually built in the game. There's a metal structure, there's drywall, there's stuff in between the 2 layers of drywall, there's supports, and like Red Faction 2 before it, everything is destructible. So there's this huge focus on you play as a demolitions master who carries bombs around, and so 90% of the fun of that game is setting bombs in buildings and watching them come toppling down, or using your sledgehammer to slowly take down a whole complex. So I've been playing a lot of that because it's just a really silly game.
Well, I guess also I've been playing a lot of replaying Arkham City for PS3
Oh, yeah.
because I miss playing that game, and playing as Batman with that simple combat system always makes you feel amazing.
I kind of want to get back into that, mostly for the Harley DLC.
That's the main reason I got back into it. But whenever I played my perfect file I managed to get, I completely forgot all the different moves that you could do. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back through on a different file and replay the whole story.
Yeah. Arkham City is another good game that does DLC pretty well. You know, where they give you, they make it your money's worth to get the contents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, playing as Catwoman is just awesome.
Oh God, yes.
Playing as Harley's fucking awesome. And especially in that style they gave her. Cardigan was right. That's super, really kind of dark and gothy, but still pretty fucking awesome.
Not to mention best voice actress.
Of course.
That was an all-star cast for voice acting too.
Well, the only thing is, when you say that, she wasn't voiced by Vincent Price, so I don't know what the fuck you're saying. Just imagine that. Harley Quinn, voiced by Vincent Price.
Well,
Joker, voiced by Orson Welles. You would come buckets.
That would be incredibly silly.
Well, let's just say I hope that Tara Strong makes a video using the Harley Quinn voice.
I'm sure she will.
She should make a Twilight-licious knockoff with lines from Harley Quinn.
Speaking of which, I know we try to keep away from the content of our other show, but we never brought it up there. But I kind of want to bring it up here because it is kind of video game related. Did you guys see a couple days ago when Tara Y made that Twilight video, and it was Tara Strong from Lollipop Chainsaw?
Yeah.
And that got posted on Equestria Daily. And then got taken down a couple hours later. It was posted up by Serial Velocity. And
I don't know why they took that down. It was perfectly fine.
I know why they took it down, because I read the comments, and people were pissed off. People were
yes, it's Seth caving to his audience once again. I keep telling him not to do that.
Well, and the thing that really got to me was, like, people were, like, genuinely upset that Tara Strong would take roles like these. Like,
please,
there's a faction of bronies who are upset that how dare she played Princess Claire and Lollipop Chainsaw and Harley Quinn.
Again, fuck them. She is a grown woman. Let her do what she wants to do.
Yeah.
She's not Twilight Sparkle. Get over it.
Yeah, well, again, these are the same type of... I mean, and I should probably say this on the GCC because it would cause way more controversy. These are the type of people who would go and kill a president for a celebrity.
Yeah.
A la Jodie Foster. Is that her name, Jodie Foster?
Yeah, Jodie Foster.
Yeah. These are those... I think that type of mindset is what these people have. Dangerous people, and they need to be put away. For the benefit of society. Not for them, for the benefit of society.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I guess, what games are you looking forward to? I should say.
Well, for me, this next month would be Kingdom Hearts 3D, but that's just because I've been playing Kingdom Hearts since it came out, and my friend Pizza Dash is getting it for me for a late birthday present, so free game.
Pretty much at the moment, just Borderlands 2.
Facts.
I am so excited for Borderlands 2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Borderlands, but whenever I do play it, I do have tons of fun, even if it's just by myself. I mean, I don't get really into the stats. I love the art style,
The atmosphere.
the atmosphere. It's just sort of like a post-apocalyptic yet hilarious. It's sort of along the lines of like Tank Girl, or like Dead Leaves, or shit like that. I also get the same vibe like Panty and Stocking, where it's just like, who gives a fuck? It's just, let's just go out and have fun. Let's just go out and have fun and just kill everything.
Yeah. Though, now that you say that, I have to say the game I'm definitely looking forward to absolutely the most is The Last of Us.
The Last
of Us.
Oh,
Naughty Dog.
yeah. Yeah.
God.
That trailer from E3 was fucking brutal.
Yeah. And just the fact that the first guy that the main character kills by grabbing him by the neck, and you just see him grabbing onto the main character's face, trying to claw at him, and you just slowly see the life go out of his eyes. They put quite a bit of detail into this.
Well, and then he had the one guy who, he's at the final enemy, who's acting like this confrontation has clearly gone against him, and now he's fighting for his life. And at the end, it's like you briefly see him try to beg for his life to try to stop getting killed, and you just blast him in the fucking face with a shotgun at point blank range. It's just so brutal. And it really drives home the fact that Last of Us is a realistic post-apocalyptic game where it's every man for himself, or every group for themselves.
Yeah, not only that, the fact that ammo is scarce in the game. And
Yeah.
you have to depend on crafting items like that Molotov cocktail and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's...
And then with the crafting, or with the pause menu being in real time where it doesn't stop the action, you really have to plan stuff out.
Yeah, and realize that, if you do fuck up, you're gonna die.
Yeah, you have to think of it as a survivalist.
Yeah.
You can just tell that Naughty Dog, they are putting their heart and soul into that game.
Well, it's like a couple of years ago, I was seriously thinking about doing like a mod for Half-Life 2 where you're caught, where it's set in like during the Cold War, and you're in a city that's near a military base. And originally I was going to make it be like either Tacoma, Washington, or Spokane, Washington. And there's hostilities between the U.S. and the Soviet Union have reached dangerous levels. And then, basically the way it plays out the movie Threads, where people are starting to panic.
Oh God, you are the first person I've heard has actually mentioned Threads.
Threads is a horrific movie.
Oh, it really is.
It is. You can look it up on YouTube. They have the entire video on YouTube, the entire movie. It's over an hour long, and it's a movie that will ruin your day. You could have the happiest day of your life. You could have won the lotto, picked up a hot chick at the coffee shop, graduated from college, with the perfect degree. You go and watch that movie and you want to die. You just want to kill yourself.
Yeah. Ben, have you ever seen that movie?
I have not.
I would say normally when you say you haven't watched the movie, I would say we should live stream that. This movie, I don't want to live stream. It's way too sad.
Yeah.
But basically, the game would go similar to that, where people are panicking, they're truly freaking out, and the reason I didn't do it is because I realized how much voice acting would be required, and I didn't know enough people to do it, and plus a lot of coding, and I'm lazy.
Understandable.
But first you would, there would be 2 nukes would hit. The first nuke would hit. Actually, there would be 3. The first one would go off, high in the atmosphere, and just take out every electronic device, so you wouldn't be able to tell what time it is.
Yeah, EMP effect.
Yeah, EMP effect. And then the second one would hit the military base that's near the town, and that would sort of be your warning, because the EMP effect takes out all the sirens, the warning sirens, so you don't know what's really going on. And so the nuke hitting the military base would be like your cue to take cover, because you're next. And you would have to find shelter, or else you would be caught in the blast and killed almost instantly. But if you get to a shelter, then you would have to, the goal would be to get out of the city. And you wouldn't have a life bar. You wouldn't have any kind of stats showing you your health, or how much how many things you're carrying. And basically, you just have to try and make it out of the city. And it would have things like, if you're hungry, you'll become.
I see what you're recycling here. It just clicked in my head.
Yeah. And then there would be random explosions, like gas mains going off, or steam pipes, and if you ended up hurting your arm, you would have to bandage it up yourself. You would have to find material to make a bandage, and you couldn't use that arm, or it wouldn't work as well. And if you sprained an ankle, you would have a limp. You couldn't run. And you would have to leave the city because you were gonna die.
I want to give a little backstory to this. Those who don't know why I said I know where he's recycling this from, is because he sent in this mail to a wonderful podcast, which unfortunately they're not still going anymore, but they're called Through the Aftermath, and it is an absolutely wonderful podcast. I suggest everyone listen to it. And sorry for interrupting.
And I wrote an email to them giving them this game pitch. This exact game pitch. Yeah. And I was actually sending it to him, hoping that some because they did have several game developers listening to him. I was hoping one of them would pick it up. And I guess they didn't.
They're too much coding.
Yeah. But yeah, and then it's and to add on to the misery, you would see other people suffering, and it was your choice on whether or not to help them or to ignore them,
or end their suffering.
Or end their, yes, I wanted to bring in the aspect of mercy killings, and what probably would made the game banned in many countries was it would include children.
Yeah.
I wanted to make it the worst possible game you would ever play. Not like Amnesia, where it's like shock value, just the game where it's like
emotional shock value.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe someday it'll happen.
I think it's good to have a game that's full of hopelessness. That reminds me of this Flash game that I played a long while ago, and I just can't remember what it was called. But the story was you're an alien who's crash landed, and a family of a mother, father, daughter, and son find you, and you befriend them. And the military comes after you and starts trying to kill you. And you can run away, or you can turn yourself into a shield for the family, because they're sort of bombing you with bombs and tank shells and whatever, with no regard whatsoever for the safety of the family who's following you around, who's found you. And if you run, you eventually die. You eventually come to a point where you've just been shot so much that you die. Or you can stick around and protect the family, because they die anyways, because the government kills them. Or you can protect your family by making yourself into a shield, and you die much faster, but the family lives. And so it's a game that's very much about hopelessness. You die, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You just have to decide, do you do the right thing and die faster?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what that fucking game was called, but I can't. It was
you'll
on
remember
Escape.
right before you go to bed.
Yeah, it'll hit me right before I go to bed, and I'll be pissed off as fuck. But it was a really sad fucking Flash game that I played. I played it several times trying to figure out if there was like another way, but no, you die. It's a game about hopelessness.
You're destined to die.
Well, and just another brief tangent, because I know nearly all of our listeners are going to be bronies. I just wanted to point out the fact that grimdark means hopelessness.
Yeah.
Hope. There's no hope for the characters in the story.
Yeah. And there's an element of fear involved as well.
Yeah, and that's what the game I pitched and the Flash game and Bullshit described. That's what grimdark is. That's what Cupcakes is, because it's hopelessness. It's the eventual realization of Rainbow Dash that she's in a hopeless situation. She's going to die. There's nothing she can do about it. A story that just is scary or gory is not hopeless. It's not a grimdark.
It's just straight out gore.
Yeah, or just straight out horror. Grimdark has a very specific meaning. It's just because I see the term grimdark get thrown around a lot when it really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So I just want to.
Sometimes I don't even consider Fallout Equestria grimdark. Sometimes
it is.
There's some points where it is very grimdark, especially in Project Horizons.
Yeah, well, and especially just when it goes through the character's mind or Lil Pip's mind that really what she's doing is there's no, others have come before her and especially when she's what's the DJ Pon 3 character?
Homage.
When Homage tells her, it's like, I've seen so many come before you and failed. I just know the same is going to happen to you. And it's like, I was listening to the audiobook and it's like, holy shit, that's some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Project Horizons is far more somber, which is hilarious because the author's name is somber, but the situations that Blackjack gets in are incredibly hopeless.
I have to check out Project Horizons.
That one is far more grimdark in the first 30 chapters.
Nice.
From what I've heard, it's not as good, but I'll judge that for myself whenever I actually read it.
Yeah. Well, to get off this sad tangent, the game I'm really looking forward to is a PC port for Skullgirls.
Ah, yeah.
It's like, I'm not a huge fighting game person, but I love Skullgirls for the fact that the art style and the characters are just so goddamn original.
Yeah.
I've never played it, but I'm just absolutely in love with Peacock. I just love how she's basically a sadistic Looney Tunes character. And then you add in the ability that the PC port will be able to cross-platform with the PS3, just makes it even better. Because then I'll play with in bullshit. So, speaking of which, is in bullshit? Did he just?
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. You just got really quiet.
Yeah, I mute my mic when I'm not talking.
He's like, oh god, fighting games. I must crawl into my corner.
But yeah, I'm really excited for that. When that does drop, because apparently they weren't. That was another game they weren't planning on bringing over the PC, but there's been a lot of requests for it to come over, so I'm definitely excited for that.
Yeah.
So, and I think we've run out of shit to talk about.
At least for this episode, I'm sure. Since this was, did you say this was more of a pilot episode, the relaunch?
Well, I guess this is a pilot and a relaunch because it's going to go into the Electric Brony feed, and I guess it'll sort of be a continuation of the Electric Brony, but it is also a pilot because it's basically an entire new cast with at least a bit more of a structure to it than the Electric Brony was. The Electric Brony truly did not have any structure. At least with this one, we're more sticking to video games and anime, even though we haven't talked about anime this episode. But
we'll probably mention that next time.
Yeah, especially as I get into more episodes of One Piece, and I'm sure in bullshit we'll be probably watching another hentai like he did.
He always does.
Yeah. I don't know. That's
whenever he goes to church, what do you think he's watching on his phone?
I'm telling you guys, you have to watch. Oh fuck, what's it called? You have to watch Inyochu Shoku. It's like the greatest hentai ever. Just because it's so awful and disgusting and vile.
Again, you're Asian. That's your cup of tea.
We should live stream it.
We could.
Oh,
but
God.
like, yeah, that's the thing with like hentai and actually porn itself. It's like really the only reason to watch it is for the entertainment value. I mean, it's easy as fuck to jerk off. Why do you have to bother with a fucking movie? You just use your fucking imagination.
Yeah, that's why H-Fest at A-Con is so popular, because you get a bunch of just jackasses together and they put hentai music videos and hentai on the big screen for everyone to basically just Mystery Science Theater 3000 it.
Yeah. Well, it's like porn. It's like I reblogged earlier today that Duke fuck 'em. And it's like, that's not made so somebody can jack off to it. That's just made because it's like, hey, this video game's out and there's shit.
Well, that's like that movie Left for Head.
Oh God!
Like it's no one is fapping to that. People are laughing their asses off.
Yeah, that's just a fat, dumpy chick and a dude with a garden hose coming out of his mouth.
Yeah,
that's all it is. But yeah, I remember when Left 4 Dead came out, and they had the studio shots of like the girl herself, and she's just like this fat, like works the night shift at Denny's look to her, meth teeth and everything. It's just like, oh God, nobody's jacking off to this chick. Nobody.
Oh no! Don't say that. There's always gonna be some sick fuck out there.
Oh, I mean, I'm pretty sure she's sucking dick for her meth fix, But that's more of a transaction. Nothing really sexual about it. That's just prostitution. And with that, I think we've ran out of topics to talk about. So I think we're done with this. I'm in Deathmac, and it's been Jay Hoofing and bullshit talking about video games. So,
it's mostly been in-depth and been talking about video games while I was sitting in the background playing my Vita.
Yeah.
But then once I finally kicked that ass with that one boss, I was able to talk more, which next episode, I will be talking more.
Yeah. Again, I'm not too sure how often we're going to do this. Hopefully we can do it just right after the GCC. I guess it's a good way for us to decompress.
Yeah.
And just relax. So I think
not only that, with we should hopefully be able to get Point going next time, and maybe a few other people.
Yeah, because we originally wanted to get Poinko on to talk about the 3DS and the new 3DS XL, but yeah, we could definitely do that next week. So
Yeah, and then with him on, I have someone else to geek out about One Piece with, so we'll be able to fill up the anime portion at least.
yeah, definitely. So, all right, and with that, I think we're done. Later.
Later.
Bye.